Hello everyone, welcome to the Dev Method. My name is Ricky. Today we're going to talk about button styles. So just to give you guys an idea of where we left off, we're creating this GitHub mobile application, the recreation of it, and we're looking at specifically the pull request view. One more thing I noticed that I wanted to clean up from a previous episode here is I'm using corner radius of 8, so that's cool, that's fine. But the idea of that app icon is actually not necessarily the corner radius, but we want to do a clip shape. And we just want to do like a pure perfect circle. So we just give it circle like so. And that cleans it up really nicely, no math needed. And if I ever change this here to say 22 instead of 16, it'll always stick to that circle shape. So that's perfect for us. So we're just going to leave it like so. But the next part that we want to make is the merge pull request button. Now it's not going to exactly be aligned with the design that GitHub has. We're just not there yet, so we're just working with a minimal viable product, and that would be just getting that merge button down below. So if this was all the information we needed, we'd still be able to merge the pull request. So in that case, I'm just going to pull up my screenshot here. These are some of the checks that happen on GitHub, and one of them being like no conflicts. But instead of building this view, let's just build this simple pull request button part. So merging the pull request. We're going to forego the additional options on the right-hand side for now. We're just going to focus on the merge pull request part and making it that green color there at the bottom. So with that being said, we're pretty close to getting this set up. So now we're working with buttons, and let's take a look at what we can do with the button right now, and then maybe how we could pull out some of it as just a reusable style. So the button API gives us this here. We have an action, and then we also have a label. So something that returns this configuration style. So this label is purely just a view. It is just some view. So we don't need that annotation up there for us. So just to give you an idea of where this would lay, merge pull request. And this here, we'll just say, the action we're not as worried about today, so we'll just say to do. Okay, so now there it's at the bottom. Not quite the best looking button for us, so let's try and think of ways that we could modify this. Now, let's just say, for example, we want the blue or the green background. There's a couple ways to do it. You might want to think about which way is best for you or best to understand, but let's just say we did it on the label itself. And again, this second closure here is that label. So it's putting it on the text. If we highlight over the button, it's actually the same size as the text right now. Now let's do some sort of padding on this. So that button is also the same size as its label. So this seems like it's going to be okay for now to do stuff like this, but it's not necessarily the best way to start reusing the styles. But let's just go on and let's see how far we can get. So we'll make the color here of the text white. So there it is, just straight white. It will always be white. So that's what we have. And then the last thing is, well, take a look at this. So that clip shape that we just did, there's another one called rounded rectangle. And you have to give it an argument. And right now there's like a rounded corner style and then a radius. But let's just take a look at the rounded corner. Let's just give it 16. Yeah, a little too much. Let's give it 8. Cut that in half. All right, so that's kind of what it looks like right now. So it's pretty good. So here's the thing. Let's say we wanted to create like a second button below it. There's like maybe merge pull request and cancel. Now we'd have to like, again, replicate all of our options we have here at the bottoms, but now we would do like a cancel, and then the cancel style, you know, has like I don't know, maybe instead of the green, it's got like a gray, something like that. So the idea here is we might want to change the style, and we might want to maybe make some things the same and some things customizable. So that's where we get into a button style. So I'm going to just create a struct up here, and we're going to call it the let's say primary button style, and it conforms to button style like so. And now the next thing that we have to use is make body. So that is the method that we have to implement here. And what you're expected to return is just some view. Now in this case, we're passed in a configuration. So if we say return configuration, like so, that will actually satisfy what it is we want to do. Oh, label. We want the configuration label. That's what we want. So we get the configuration, we get this label, and the label actually represents the this body here. This is all the label that was returned for the button. So it represents that. So just as an example, let's just say if I was to take out the background color and put it in the style, that's where it's going to come from. It's going to come from this label part. It's going to apply that to the text that's here. So that's the idea. So let's just say we wanted to have this text be the thing that's different for each one of them, but then have the style be the same. Okay, and then maybe the two different button colors be different. So how could we do that? So the first part is let's take out all the things that we know are going to be the same. So let's do this here. There we go. And then how do we use this button style? Well, what we would do is you would say button style, like so, and then pass it in primary button style. And we'll hit resume, and we get the same thing as what we once had before. Whoops, actually we did not, sorry. Well, as you can see, that's not exactly what we would have wanted. We want it on the actual button itself. There we go. And just to prove to you that this does work, I'll change it to a blue one. So you got a blue one, there we go, and back to green. So that's the idea of what we have so far, and let's just say we also want to change the font. So now we can start doing that. Say font, and we'll give it a headline because it is a primary button. There we go, little heavier weight there. Now the same thing goes here for the cancel. So we take this away, and we put the button style on this other button here, just below it. But here's the problem. They're both green. We wanted the cancel one to be a gray because it's slightly different, and then we want the regular green one to have green. So the merge pull request one, we're going to have to create some sort of variable, and this is then a property of the primary button style. So this will have to have some sort of initializer. So let's just say background color, okay? And now, anytime we use this style, we must provide a background color. So background color, and I'll say dot green for this one, and then the background color for here is dot gray, like so. And now, to use that background color, we just need to replace our hard-coded dot green color with that background color. So now that's the variable part. And if we resume, we'll get the two different buttons here. So there it is. Got the two different buttons. So this is how you want to use the differences with your colors. Now here's the other part. Let's say we also wanted not just a background color, but we also wanted some sort of button highlighted color, like when it's being selected or pressed. So in standard UI for UI kit, let me correct our button background color here real quick. This would be known as the highlighted state of your UI button. So that's what we're going to work with for now. say highlighted color, and that'll be a color 2. And let's put that down below. What do we want that to be? Well, let's just say our background color and then highlighted color. It's going to be a green as well, but then the opacity, let's just say, is like 60% of the original color. So that's what it's going to be. Now, here's the thing. We can't just set this and then we're all done. That's not how it works. So let me get the other one set up here too, so we can read it really easily. Okay. And this part here is gray. Okay. Now, how does that feed into here though? Because see, this is just going to be some sort of property here that's stored on the primary button style and then not used. So what could we do? Well, what we could do is we use the configuration. It has another thing besides label. It has an is pressed. So if I do a configuration dot is pressed. So if it is pressed, we're going to use the highlighted color. And if not, we're going to use the background color. So let me separate that out onto its own line here so you can see that a little bit easier. So if it is pressed, use the highlight color. If it is not, use the background color. So let's try that. All right, so for this part though, if we want to test some of the interactions, we're going to have to run this. So why don't we run this here real quick. Okay, so here we are. Click down, see how it actually goes to that highlighted color. And what's kind of cool is we get an automatic animation. It's just not a flash of one color and then the other color. It knows how to transition to the two. So pretty cool, right? Yeah, and then let's do cancel. See cancel like that too. Just to show you that it's working, let's just ignore the background color for highlighted and let's just give it like a dot blue or something like that. Like a hard-coded color. Run it again. See that? When I click down it turns blue, but it fades between the two. Pretty neat that that's built in. So there we go. So that primary button style we can now repeat and use with the two different buttons. We have now like a cancel button and then like a pull request button. So that's kind of cool. Now, our design did not show a cancel button, but you get the idea that at some point we're going to need some of those same styles, so we're going to leave that there. Maybe one of the other things that we could do for the cancel, instead of it just showing text, we can actually do an image, system image, and then chevron down, like so. And we should be able to see that here. Yeah, so now it's just a chevron down. And these two buttons now, we can start making them look more like this comp here, with them side by side. And we do that with an H stack. And we pull these two buttons in here. All right, so now they're side by side. Now, the interesting thing here is that since they're different sizes themselves, they're not going to necessarily play nice together. They're actually not even close to one another. So I give it a spacing of 0. That should pull them closer to each other. But then, as you can see, we're running into some other issues. And so that's where I would say this is for a primary button style. And this is not necessarily for a style of button where there's like two things attached to it. That we would want to build our own component for. So that's maybe something we could do in a future video. So thanks for watching and learning about button styles. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments and then give a thumbs up if you like this video, or let me know other topics that you'd like to hear about. Thank you. See you later.